What's up, Taiwan? Good morning. I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's largest annual military drills, the Hangguang exercises, kicked off on Monday. The Air Force carried out exercises preparing for scenarios involving an attack from China. And in Taiwan's western Miaoli County, reservists have been preparing for a full-out invasion in their revamped training program. Rick Glatt reports.
Preparing for a Chinese invasion. These Taiwan reservists ready defences that could slow down an enemy force landing on nearby beaches. For software engineer Jian Zhehui, taking part in his country's largest military drill is not just a duty, but an honour.
很高兴能够在这一次参加自强38号的演习。在这里教召的时候，在这些相关的训练上，看着教召的干部们一点一点的依据自己的专长及 SOP 准则去对我们实施教导，相信在国际的战役上还是非常坚强的。
Jian Zhehui is one of hundreds of reservists involved in Taiwan's 5-day Hangguang exercises, which simulate the response to a potential full-scale invasion by China. China claims Taiwan as its own and threatens to take it by force. It's the first time reservists are participating in the drills since their service was reformed to meet the growing threat. Reservists like these are now going to train for longer and focus more on combat skills, such as shooting. Their training was revamped earlier this year in a bid to boost the country's war readiness as tensions rise across the strait. In recent months, China has increasingly sent fighter jets into Taiwan's air identification zone. That and Russia's invasion of Ukraine are prompting officials here to rethink Taiwan's defense strategy.
So you can see, these situations in the Taiwan Strait is becoming much more tension over the past years. So the United States and not only the United States, but also Taiwan per se has kind of the voice to argue that the island had to reconsider its military strategy and its military policy. So expanding military service, that's one issue. And increasing military expenditure is another one.
Across the country, Taiwan is mobilizing its army, air force and navy in a show of war readiness as it looks to modernize its forces, spending nearly $17 billion on defense this year. But it is civilians like these that are also being called to play a greater role in the defense of their country. Patrick Chen and Rick Glatt in Miaoli County for TaiwanPlus.
Civilians, too, were put through their paces. Taiwan conducted the first of 4 Wan-An drills in the capital city of Taipei on Monday. The exercises instruct the public on what to do in case of an enemy attack. Bing Wong was on the scene to give us a window onto what the drills are like.
The first of 4-day civilian drills just kicked off across Taiwan in the capital Taipei. These drills, the Wan-An drills, are aimed at protecting citizens in the event of an enemy invasion. Air sirens blared for 30 minutes, meaning civilians had to seek shelter and cars had to pull off roads. While trains continued to run, people could not leave the station. The same exercise will be conducted across the country over the next few days. Those who violate the protocols will face a fine of up to $1,000 to $5,000 US. Last year, the restrictions weren't as strict because of COVID-19. That's because the government didn't want people to congregate in one area and risk exposure. But this year, the restrictions are back in place and it's back to normal. Ricky, Pichi Zhuang, Bing Wong, in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
But it's not just physical warfare the country is preparing for. There have been an increasing number of threats in cyberspace, too. Taiwan's government says it faced some 5 million cyber attacks daily last year, with around half coming from China. The Cyber Risk Index by Japan's Trend Micro found that 76% of Taiwanese companies expect some form of cyber attack in the coming year. $1.3 million has been earmarked for a new Ministry of Digital Affairs in Taiwan launching next month. It will be tasked with implementing cybersecurity policies. To learn more, our reporter James Chater spoke to T.H. Shi, a community leader at Open Knowledge Taiwan. That's an NGO that works on open government and cybersecurity. He began by asking if Taiwan is doing enough to defend against Chinese hacking.
Well, I would say when you are dealing with Chinese hackers, preparation is never enough. So I would say preparation is not enough, but the government is trying hard to address the problem by, for example, asking the public companies who have a CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, within their office or corporate. That's a major milestone for protecting information system.
How are Taiwanese government communications conducted, and are they secure enough?
Well, I think the question can be answered because security is a relative term. So I would say the government is trying hard on this, but there are some risks not being addressed so far. A lot of officials in the government, as we know or we recognize, that they're using private messengers, not just Line, but other like Facebook Messenger to conduct business or operations. And it's really, if you lose the phone, the data being transmitted through those channels will be exposed to the public, to hackers, to someone who want to get a tap of their resource. That's one of the major risks that's hurting the government communication security right now.
Millions of dollars were spent on years of renovations, but just 2 days after it opened, the Hsinchu City Baseball Stadium has been shut down again. A number of baseball players were injured in the inaugural games due to uneven grounds. But as Yu Jinghua reports, the issues went well beyond the playing field.
It was supposed to be the game highlighting the newly renovated Hsinchu Baseball Stadium. Instead,
没有缓冲的感觉，因为它上面是松松的，但是下去你扑下去的时候又是很硬。
the original Hsinchu Baseball Stadium was torn down 6 years ago and was rebuilt at a cost of $4 million. On its opening weekend, 4 players were injured on the field. Complaints also poured in from the fans. Spectators had to contend with rusty stairs, anti-slip and reflective strips on the wrong side of the steps, and the locks for women's restrooms were on the outside and not the inside of the cubicles.
所有的责难到我身上，在我的协调之下，大家已经有初步的共识，把球场的环境，再做细节的改善。
But in November, the former mayor Lin Zhijian, who was in charge of the project, will be running for a mayoral post in another city, leading to questions about whether he will face the consequences.
市长、副市长也已经辞职，正在参选。那这2位要如何来扛责任？这我是觉得蛮不可思议的。
There are questions about the construction company's track record. It's now come to light that there have been issues with their previous projects. The local government and Chinese Professional Baseball League have already decided to close the stadium temporarily and move the games elsewhere. But the public scrutiny is now just beginning. Piper Yo and Yu Jinghua for TaiwanPlus.
The Changhua Roundhouse, a beloved piece of Taiwan's railway heritage, has turned 100. Railway roundhouses were places where locomotives could be stored and repaired. They were built in a ring shape with stalls for trains. A turntable in the center moves the trains into a service stall or back out onto the rails. When the Changhua Roundhouse was built in 1922, these facilities were still common, but it's now the only survivor in Taiwan. Railway fans came to celebrate the anniversary, and some good news. Taiwan's Culture Ministry has declared it a national monument, meaning more funds for preservation. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of the World of Barbie immersive show in Toronto. The show lets fans interact with all their favorite things from the Barbie universe. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.
In a changing world, when voices are being silenced, TaiwanPlus is listening. We tell those stories. No compromise, no boundaries,
people in Taiwan.
no fear.
I want to study Chinese. I'm Ryan Kilpatrick.
Capital Taipei. TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News.